energy bar. Yeah. Time to go live, and I've got a mouthful, and Peggy's crossing the road. Peggy, supposed to be elephants and lions and leopards and tigers here, girl. She's giggling. But she's walking up from the owner's house to our camp. Go and see Ivy. And it's hard to explain to you how it works in Africa, that people who live here can live in harmony with the bush, and they can walk through the bush without feeling any fear. A lot of people get alarmed at me getting out of the vehicle and going tracking and things, and at my team that I brush it off and I make it look as though it's a frivolity. But it's more than that. It's actually just a way of life. They're people. We live here. This is our life. We live in the bush. And when you're going from A to B, it doesn't matter really where it is, but you're aware of what there could be, and you're aware of sounds and signals, but you also don't walk in a way that makes you a target. Peggy, that's Peggy, that just crossed the road. She's going from the River Lodge probably back to our camp. She's one of the people that are employed here. And she helps out wherever she does. Sometimes we see her collecting firewood for the local communities outside. Sometimes she's helping Ivy back at SC. She's just one of the local that's become part of the team almost. But, okay, welcome to our drive, and let's go and see what we can find here in Thornybush Private Nature Reserve. There are a couple of things that I'm compelled to do in these last few days of our drive here at Thornybush. And one of the things is, I don't know if any of you remember, but we stopped here a few days, could be a couple of weeks ago, to see a crassula that is flowering through this acacia. And it was actually hard to see, but now that times have changed, it's even more vivid now. The flowers of a really strange combination of factors that have allowed this flower to be higher than any flower I've ever seen in my life. And this is, you can quote me on this one, is that I've never seen those flowers be so high, and the only way they have is because they've grown in through the branches of this acacia, and that's given it the support that it's needed. But it's also being compelled to find light, because it needs a free space around the flower to bring the insects that it needs to fertilize it. So the very fact that it was growing in the acacia meant that it had to grow out through it, and that's what made it so big. But a wonderful combination of factors that create the perfect specimen. Not to mention these giant quarries just behind it. Aaron on camera, David back in FC. My name is Mark. This is Wild Earth. This is Thornybush Private Nature Reserve. And well, as interesting as flowers can be, that is one of them. But we're on a quest that I've decided. I made a decision. We're going to go back to that area where the lion killed the zebra. And we're going to have a look at what is left there after having seen a kill a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago, kind of about a month ago, I think it was around about last month. Oh, I have no concept of time, but someone can remind me when Becky found those two male lions on the zebra kill in the misty morning. Well, I thought we'd just take a drive down this road and eventually end up there and see if we could find any bones, any pieces of that zebra, and have a look at what it looks like to have a glimpse at the aftermath of a kill about, what, a month later? I don't know. You remember dates, Sarah? Well, the date where, I don't know if you remember that time frame that we had those lions on the zebra kill. No, well, Becky was still here. Because Becky found it. Becky always seemed to find the young male lion. Like they had this mutual attraction. Some would think it might be that mane of hair that Becky wears. Anyway. Tuesday afternoon in Africa. If you're watching us live, I challenge you to find anything that is even remotely close to what we can show you being live on a Land Rover in Africa. This little Defender 90 that pulled out. No, I won't go there. Yes, the Defender 90 was in the days when BMW owned Land Rover. They put their 2.8i engine into the Land Rover. The 2.8 fuel injected petrol engine into a Land Rover, and this is the Digger. Which I have to admit has been a pleasure to drive over the years. I first drove this vehicle in December, I think it was December of 2008. 2008, that's where we now, 5 years later. Not really. December 2008. And then there was a bit of a break until I eventually got behind the wheel of sometime in 2009. And this poor girl was just so tired out by 2011. We were using another Land Rover called the Gunda. Oh, I can do better than that. I think we're going to have to name this road. And you know what I'm going to have to name this road? There isn't a single road in the entire Thornybush that's called Ndlovu or Elephant or Tembo or something. I'm going to have to ask Steve nicely. Because this road's been very important to us. It's not a very commonly used road. This is a road that's just recently been reopened actually, because it was a road once. It's still south of the river. It gives us a little bit of extra space south of the river, and it was access to the 2-mile line. When they killed that zebra, we were able to watch them by coming through here as opposed to going around the fence line, which is not very attractive. But also what we have here is something that's coming up on my right. This is the remnants, the skeleton of one of the most beautiful of aloes, known as Aloe marloffii. And look, there are even a couple of leaves that are listed. Excuse me, I want to look at something. Sadly, the tree. Ow! There's a lot of thorns around here. Acacias, aloes. Sadly, the tree itself is dead. There's still a couple of leaves that can survive on their own because of the photosynthesis process that they are able to do, just being an aloe. But the rest of the plant is dead, so although it's still living tissue, it's doomed. It can't be supplied by new nutrients, and it is merely living with sunlight and moisture coming from precipitation. But the last few, look, actually there's another one there. That pinnacle of an aloe that must be 100 years old or more, with its crown broken off. I can go forward even. You know, we as humans are so naive to think that the medicinal properties that we've discovered in aloes is our discovery, but actually, you know what? Nature's been dealing with aloes for millions of years, and animals and birds and everything have been using aloes for their own medicinal uses or benefits. And sadly, elephants need them, and with such a small population of them, the elephants have already nailed them. There's something in aloes that elephants need, and that's why there aren't any anymore. And it's got nothing to do with really the restrictions being in Thornybush with a physical boundary around the entire game reserve. It's got nothing really to do with that. It's got to do with just changes in the environment. It's just changes in, well, yeah, I guess part of it is that sense of boundaries. Hello, Diane. Diane was wondering about buffalo. And the relationship, or rather the connection, or if any, between them and elephants, in terms of when an elephant gives birth and all the females come and gather around, whether buffalo do the same. And if I give you an answer, I'd only be guessing because I've never witnessed this, so I really don't know. I've witnessed cows giving birth, or a cow giving birth. That's quite a specimen of a marula. without its leaves or anything. That's amazing. So this is where those lions had that zebra kill. And what I've come here to do is to try and find some remnants or some pieces or something from that kill. I can see some vulture down feathers. Of course, you can see over there. I think the carcass ended up somewhere in here. I would really like to find that skull to show you. June 27th, so okay. Almost a lunar month away. Or rather, just over a lunar month. June 20th. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, whoever that was. Almost a month ago. I'd like to find some remnants. I'd like to show you what maybe remains. We'll be able to. I don't know. Thanks, Vivian and Ellen, who sent that in. Boy, sometimes I'm good. Sometimes I'm good. Okay. Sun is completely wrong, so I need to turn around and no, what if I'm here? No, I need to turn because I'd really like to do all of this. This is that. It's not going to work at all. So all I can do is deal with what I got. It was a morning, I think, what was it? The 27th of June. Taking my earpiece out so I can't hear a thing. The morning. No, it's not going to work. 27th of June. Becky and I were trying to find these lions. I'd heard them during the night, and we came up here and we were driving along the fence line because we were following the tracks. Becky said, there, and it was almost within minutes of them catching the zebra. And we had a really incredible morning with these two male lions eating the zebra in the mist and the steam coming out of the carcass. It was graphic, and it was a little bit hard for some people, but it was very, very captivating. It was, for us, it was wildlife filmmaking dream to be able to capture these two males, totally unrelated, getting along, sitting on the same carcass. It was a very, very special thing. So I came back here now, and what I want to do is actually just find pieces of this kill, and I've actually managed to do that. That's quite remarkable with the sea. But this is where the carcass ended up. Ow! Standing on thorns. And here's the skull. Ow! Okay, sorry, wait. There's just a young acacia here at my feet that is preventing me from standing anywhere near it. But this is a very, very interesting feature that I have found. Oh. Does it work to do that, despite all the driver ants on it? Is it too close? So I go down. And go here. There. I've got to walk very, very carefully in these grasses. On top of the GoPro. It's still smelly and it's still got bits of meat and everything on it. But it's a very, very important find. It's a very, very interesting thing to look at, because I've always believed and I've always known that sometimes the stallion will let the mares get away to ensure that his seed survives, to ensure that the foal survives, and he will separate from the mares during a hunt, and he will draw the attention of the cats after him. And this might be proof of that. This might be that very, very thing that I talk about sometimes. This is a stallion. This was a big stallion, and he's not the stallion of the herd that lives around us. He's not the stallion of that little group that we very often see with the wildebeest and stuff. This is a stallion that Becky and I have seen when we were looking for elephants. In fact, I think even Brian and I, when we were looking for elephants in this area one day, we saw the stallion, and I even remarked about this zebra that was living in this very dense bush on his own. There are a lot of ants on it, but the reason why I know that it's a male and that it's a stallion and that he was big and he was old, and I hope there are any of you that there might be some of you that are equestrian people. Look at the tooth wear on his incisors. But the most important thing about him being a stallion are these two teeth over here. His canine, his wolf teeth, his weapons, and sadly this old dude didn't have really much of a weapon left. He was an old man. He didn't have a family anymore. He had been pushed out probably from whatever family he owned, and he was an old stallion that was actually doomed to be lion food based on the wear on not only his canines but also here on his incisors. You can see, I mean, it's almost like a quarter of an inch or more. If you look at, I don't know, can you see that tooth, that little ridge of that tooth? Yep. You can see how it's worn down there, but obviously his upper jaw missed this little top part, but that's how much tooth wear there has been throughout his lifetime. So, a stallion that echoes. And he was a proud zebra once. Oh, on the acacia again. Oh, the other thing I didn't show you was his pelvic girdle and the base of his spine. That's actually lying there in the shade. But I'm guessing that maybe you've had enough of an anatomy lesson today. Another interesting fact is that there's nothing else left. There's that pelvic, not even the pelvic girth, not even the pelvis. It's the spinal column down to the pelvis. And that piece of the skull is all that I could find. I didn't walk around a lot. I'm sure that there are pieces lying everywhere within a pretty wide radius because creatures distributed. Creatures come in and they drag pieces off. Not only vultures and hyenas, but other things too. Civet, porcupine. Porcupine gnaw on bone quite extensively. But I'm quite pleased in that I wanted to come and have a look and see if we could find the skull, and I did. Not very pleasant. I mean, still got stuff on it, that the millipedes and the carcass beetles and the detritivores. They're herbivores and carnivores, but they're also detritivores. Detritus eaters that clean up everything. Everything has to be broken down and turned to the soil, feed, everything that grows. Okay, I'm back online. Yes, back online. Here's hello, Henry in Victoria. Hello, Hannah. Hanley has a very good interest in crocodiles. I like people who are interested in crocodiles because I love crocodiles. I think they're incredible creatures. To have survived, to have remained unchanged, to have mastered their habitat, and nothing can challenge them short of a few million years of evolution. Crocodiles, I suppose, and alligators, and well, all of those crocodilians have my utmost respect. But Hadley is asking about our Mildred. I'm also a little worried about our Mildred. Only in that such a lovely crocodile. I hope she has babies one day. But for a crocodile to nest, they need different conditions, Hadley, and I don't know. I might be wrong, and I would be, no doubt, not surprised if Mildred did find a place to lay eggs somewhere around that dam if she was mated with, or who knows, she might be the first example of crocodilian parthenogenetic reproduction. Well, no, not reptilian, because they're geckos and lizards that do it, but of that size. It was not known that a crocodile could do it. He's not enough. Oh. But being a reptile, I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't say it's impossible that for a species to survive, it might just reinvent or rewrite the books about parthenogenesis. I think, let's put it this way, that the conditions for laying a clutch of eggs and raising them at the dam there is pretty slim. They're not ideal conditions for a crocodile. But having said that, nature has a way of adapting to conditions and allowing individuals to adapt to those conditions. And obviously, if there are survivors of that, then it means that they themselves will be able to reproduce under those conditions in the future, and perhaps even harsher conditions. But generally, crocodiles need specific conditions to reproduce, and they do this in some of these rivers, almost like the Thornybush River. In fact, what the Thornybush River might have been once upon a time, a permanent river, and there were floodplains, much like the Sabi River and the Sand River and the Limpopo and the Urupon. Because crocodiles need to bury their eggs in the high water mark on a floodplain, above it, the high water mark. And for about 90 days they have to watch those eggs, and they have to care for them, and they have to make sure that they survive. And the temperature is critical. I suppose like any egg that needs incubation, crocodile eggs are also temperature dependent. The remarkable fact about crocodile eggs, as it is with a lot of other reptiles, is that temperature actually can determine the sex of a crocodile. And unfortunately, because of that fact, humans are able to exploit them, but we won't go into the exploitation because we all know that's what humans do. Like crocodiles, they need certain soft sandy patches to lay their eggs. And I don't know if places like Langwan Dam are really that conducive to creating a nursery, because that's the other thing. When the eggs hatch after 90 days, Mom goes to collect the babies. She actually even helps break open the eggs gently with her jaws, and she carries these babies down to their nursery water. She's pre-selected an area where she's happy that as children they can survive without being preyed on in a particular environment, and that's their nursery water, their nursery area. Places like the Okavango Delta and some of the biggest rivers of Africa, that's not hard to find. You find backwaters, but here in a reserve like Thornybush, where there are artificial dams and crocodiles at an artificial dam, they aren't exactly ideal conditions for crocodiles to reproduce, except on the Thornybush River. But it's no longer a permanent river, so it could be that they have an incredible ability to adapt to circumstances and environmental changes, or rather changes in their climatic and environmental conditions, and that the fact that she is there at the dam, Langwan Dam, means that she is able to find a way to lay eggs, or if she's mated with, and successfully raise them. I don't know if it would be a first. It might not even be a first. It might even be that in crocodile history of some of these private reserves where that's all the water that they can deal with, they might have learned how to, not learned, but they might have there might be a particular success rate in their hatchlings, because they can't lay their eggs anywhere else and they just can't help it, but they've got to lay eggs there. Not a straightforward answer. What is really a straightforward answer when it comes to nature? How about we just put a stop here at this little waterhole for a bit in the shade, let the vehicle out and see what might come along. Water's getting scarce this time of the year. Nyala behind it, and Nyala drinking actually on the top left little dam. I need to put the noses in the forward. I know we can't really see him anyway, but there. I think it's a bit early. Nothing moving. Oops. Nothing moving around. But I know that come sunset there must be a number of animals that might drink. Including that baboon troop that come and sleep here, but we're going to move on. Vivian in Chicago. Hello, Vivian. Viv in Chicago. Not the greatest time to answer a question as we're driving into the sun because you can't really see anything, but Vivian, nice question actually. If crocodiles have a mating season, and it's a bit of a yes and no question. Because yes they do, but no they don't really, because they can't mate. They don't mate any time during these cold months, the dry season, when their metabolism is low. But at the same time, there is a specific time when she needs to lay eggs, so that the young are born in the summer when there are a lot of, or rather when the variety of small vertebrates and invertebrates are available for the young. But then again, there's another factor involved there. They're reptiles, they don't really need that much. They don't need as much as a mammal. They don't need to be eating every week. Young crocodiles only need to eat a good few meals, and then they can spend the dry season estivating and slowing down their metabolism, waiting for the next summer to come along. So it is rather critical when they do reproduce and they don't just reproduce any time of the year. But I would say, being reptiles, they don't exactly have a season. They have this incredible connection to the meteorological state of the planet, and so they know when the weather's changing, when they can do it, when they can't, and they try and reproduce when the conditions are the greatest, the best. Hello, Mr. Giraffe. Look at me. Third time lucky. I managed to get here without surprising you. Although, he's the same. This is the first giraffe you met, David. David, here on camera. David, back in the sea. We had him at Albeda Pan. But he's been around a lot. I've startled him twice along the river, and for the change I've actually managed to see him before I came around the corner. Really tatty ear there, that left ear. Big scar across his nose. Scars on his chest and above his shoulders. Barely a maning. Yeah, that's your Scarface, David. Your buddy, your first giraffe when you arrived. Dude that you met. I don't think we can call him Al Pacino. Oh, I think I'll walk this way then. They're not flashing together, does that matter? It's like one, yes. I can't, the gravity engine get me over that little bump. No, don't go. Don't. Don't go. So, it would be nice if we could just use an electric drive or something and not. Sorry, Willie. David, I don't have my earpiece in, so I can't hear you if you're saying anything, but I'll get it back there in a second. I just have to do this first. I'm going to work to see him though. 73, 74.
Well, they're on video settings. Do you see like a video camera, or do you see a camera?
No, it's on camera.
Go check it.
I don't know. I'm just a presenter, I don't know.
Have made friends with one of the top rangers in the...
Walking faster than I can drive. There he is, way up there. Pardon? I know. No, I know that. But what can I do? I don't really want to give him the impression that I'm chasing him or I'm following him. I just want to get past him. But now he's gone off in there, so we can leave him be. And he'll soon understand that it's just circumstantial that I was following him and I was going the same way as he was. You're talking about those front ones. They're not running, are they? Don't think so. So Now we tackle this tree. And I can talk to Diane in Chicago. Hello, Diane. Chicago. So we're going to get to a road soon. And we won't be looking into the sun, but it is, unfortunately, there's no option. We live in the southeastern corner of the reserve. We have to go northwest wherever we go in an afternoon, so we have to go into the sun. It's really unfortunate, but I will take a road shortly that takes us back in a different direction. Trust me, I would do otherwise. It's almost impossible to see things driving into the late afternoon sun. So the question from Chicago. Aaron, please repeat that for me. Lost it. Out of my head. Oh, right. Okay, sorry. I'm thinking that Diane, you're thinking of that giraffe that is partially melanistic, that has that pattern on its back that looks like a saddle. We've come across him many times, in fact. You've obviously missed it because you're not watching. But if you watch, then you'll see it. But yes, we've come across him again. A number of times. I've got some good photos of him too. There we go. Now we can drive with the sun behind us for a little while. Pardon? Actually, I should actually get that. I should do a little. Yeah, it's a nice road. It's sun behind us. Good line. But I'm allowed to show off for a camera. I'm allowed to sort of hand it up a little. A few seconds of handing it up. Okay. I've got a surprise for you, everybody. But you have no idea. All this time that we've had the camera on the back of the vehicle, you should see what it looks like when the camera's on the front. And we're driving through roads like this with the lights behind us. And I just go slowly. Because we can speed it up any way we want in the editing suite. But for a true experience of what it's like to drive through the bush, forget about having the camera at the back. You must know what it's how. I had a look at it the other day. Just a little bit of stuff we just when Erin and I were last together on an afternoon drive. Yeah, and we taped that GoPro there. Of course, we've got to come across animals to really appreciate it. But maybe that'll happen. We'll have a look. And I think at that point I need to see, unfortunately at the moment it's manually operated.
That smirk. Yo.
So where are we? Who's with us? What are we going to find? How's the water supposed to flow uphill? I think we need to stop and listen. Like the wind song. Not too heavy a wind, so it's not too loud. Branches breaking. Is there any pachyderms around? Wee Pat. Hi Pat. What are we going to name the road? Let's think about it. So it's got to be something to do with elephants. No. Tembo Road. No. Ellie Road. Yeah, Ellie. Maybe just Ellie Road. And then some famous fashion publications can claim that copyright infringement and booming. And our counters too on behalf of all the elephants saying, well, you stole our name, we Ellie. Skinny models in silk suits don't Is it the right beep? I don't know. But now half of them have moved off. They've all moved off. Oh, come on, you just stop jerking. Really? Oh, look, all of them are going to come now. They're all going to run across the road now. It can be such a pain when I need you to behave. Okay, rest of you can come across now. Too far ahead. There. He's a little boy. Panic. Really? You have to panic? There's the rest of them behind us. Sure, we could rig something up that I could push that button from my feet if I did a little bit of a lever action over the bull bar. We'd figure it out. That'd probably be easier to do an electronic version. You just have to press a button. Well, so some Impala, and the wind that's rather inconsistent at the moment. David, sorry. Switch that off. Switch it on. Anything for me, David? Push my ear. Oh, Raisa, Finland. we came up with what nightjar it was. Well, I kind of figured it was a fiery neck. Female fiery neck nightjar. What threw me was that I was looking at the tables of the males, and I looked at the wing patterns and the markings of the female, and it appeared to be that it was a female fiery neck nightjar. This thing, the fiery neck nightjar sings "Good Lord deliver us," and somebody knocked it over. How ironic. So there was a kudu here, but she ran away. Okay, we really got to find a different direction to drive in again, because yeah, boy. Okay. No, I'm sorry, David. I'm not copying you very well. Convenient. Yes, I am, and I'm not copying you very well. No comprendo. Himalaya or Missouri. Anilo Yodea. Gosh, this machine has been there. Take off my shades. We're not going towards the sun again this evening, this afternoon. Still was fast. But I don't know, for some reason today the sun is pretty bright. Now I can relax. Good light behind us. Moon will be rising a little bit after sunset, so we're not going to see the moon rise, but I can probably promise you, that makes sense. I can probably promise you that we will see the moon set tomorrow morning on our morning drive. Sometimes I see sculptures in wood that nature has created, and I'm compelled to take a snapshot. Simple bits of tree standing up and make an album one day of these strange horse-like, giraffe-like, gargoyle-like faces from just nature sculptures, wind erosion, and there's a buffalo, wind and rain and insects and decay and how wood ends up the way it does. What? Throw your head like that? Yeah. That's my black hat. But you see what I did when I gave him my head? Shook my head like he did. Oh, look at this one coming. Oh, missed that pose. This is the biggest problem with digital cameras, is that it takes time for the electronics to do their thing. Hello, Mr. Buffalo. He's actually challenging me. Needs a dose of duct tape. Got a shot through there. Oh, there's something in the way. Let's go forward a bit. Incredible posture from a buffalo, actually. I guess it's been a bit of a buffalo day today. Yeah, I'm talking about you, buffalo. Jordan. That is one of the biggest buffaloes. I think we finally got to him, pointing the camera at him, and oh, he's coming back. He wants to charge. He's back a little bit. He's a frisky old bull. Oh, he's throwing his horns at us. But now we're not going to get a good view of him, but what? Oh no, him. He'll move. No, there's not much we can do about it. But he's the one that's displaying to us, so I want to just keep. Well, I guess it's time to move on anyway. Okay, let's move on. How is this possible? These are too big for your boots, old bull. Look at him. Look at his posture just through there. He's like, you don't want to mess with him, right? You don't want to mess with that bull. Hello, Tora. Charlotte, North Carolina. Tora's asking about those tail patches on the buffalo. Is it due to rubbing or is it genetics? And the former yes, the latter no. It is due to rubbing. They become bald patches from having itches in the same place over the course of 20 to 30 years. They rub it so much that they get these calluses. It's not so much that they've lost the hair there, but it's more a case of that there are calluses that develop on their skin from rubbing it constantly. And I guess sort of a self-deprecating thing that the more they develop these calluses, the more creases and wrinkles there are for ticks to hide themselves, cause them itches, and make them rub even more. So depending on how parasites have affected an individual, or infected or affected or infested an individual, that'll depend on where it's rubbed the most in its lifetime, and somehow because it rubbed there the most, that's where parasites and irritation occurs. It's the same as with us human beings. I'm a culprit myself. There's some of us human beings that scratch a lot, and there's some that don't. It's like there's some that bite their nails, and there's some that don't. subconscious physical never mind. Yes, they develop these callous bits, they develop these areas of their body where it becomes bald, and then even they get these thicker, well, no better word than calluses that develop. Something white, I don't know, coarse or nothing. So, they've done it. Quite very, very white. But it's also not an area where coarse occurs, so I can't imagine that this box could be a piece of bone. Hello, Sharon in Memphis. What's up with the hat? Well, it's time. It's time to wear this hat. It's new, but it's not new. I've had it for 2 years already. In fact, there are photos of the drive that I wore it on from Juma when I first wore this hat about 2 years ago. What's up with it? Well, it's our last week of drive, and time to start wearing this hat in a little bit. It's still my evening wear hat, but it still has to get a bit of character. It has to be some elephants and cats. Can't go to formal functions without being exposed to where it felt like my prerogative. I have many hats and I wear them as it went. This hat I'm wearing now in celebration of several things. Because it's a looking hat, no big deal. railway daycare when he ran away. Oh, he's still there. He might stay there. There's a little spot of sunshine. He might just stay there if we... Oh, he's stopped yesterday. Piece of grass might be in the way. What? Yeah, if they talk and they run away. I just had some ash fall on me. And see smoke down there in the south from a fire. Very, 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 very far away. Nothing to be concerned about. But there are little bits of sort of fire. Patty in New York. Another Patty in New York. I'm curious. Patty in New York. Is it Patty in New York who previously was in New Jersey, or was it a different Patty in New York who had lived in New Jersey? But thank you, Patty. Very nice of you to say so. Complimenting me on my hat. How I look in my hat. Well, much obliged, ma'am. Much obliged. I know that somebody knows where this hat comes from. Somewhere here where that giant eagle owl is. But the trees on the river are too far away to see it. It does live down there, but we've seen it on top of the trees. So, just on another note, a sour note, like lemon juice, vinegar, and battery sour note. I want to talk about tomorrow is Wednesday, and tomorrow, being Wednesday, is going to be the day that will be a week left of drive, or it could even be today. But it is something I have to prepare you for. It is something that I have to just mention. I feel I need to. And that by next week, Wednesday, we're going to be out of here. So I'm going to try my best. These last few drives, I'm going to try my best. We're going to try our best to do what we can to bring you some amazing stuff. But we're going to not be broadcasting from next week. And you all just have to watch the space and see what we do here at Wild Earth. I hope that there's a family of Nyala down the bottom. Oh look, there is. I hope it comes true. I was saying, I hope there's a family of Nyala, and look, there's a family of Nyala. Now, if we could just use gravity drive to sneak closer to them. about it. Signal looking. Yeah, we've never come this far up the drainage line, and because we're going in a week, decided to just follow it and see. So. That sounds good. Hoping it's, I can't tape this back, right? You can't record those back ones. get in. To know how fires are handled in the bush. Because the roads are too small to handle a fire brigade. Closest fire brigade is about 500 kilometers away. 350 miles. We are the fire brigade. The guides, the staff of the lodges, we are the fire brigade. There ain't no fire brigade. There are no aeroplanes that come and douse flames with buckets of water. There are no fire engines that come with hoses. There's no smoke jumpers and... this is Africa. Never mind to handle fire engines, the roads are too small to handle or be fire break. That's why fires are such a problem in Africa, because there's no fire. There are no fire brigades and fire. They're not staying. In fact, Hoodspray, the little town that's my little hometown, has had a fire station for the last probably about 5 or 6 years, but up until now has been a brothel. Yes, they haven't had a fire engine or a firefighting crew. The fire station that was built was Kudu up there. Changing the subject. The fire station that was built remained dormant for God knows how long. Especially last year's flood changed everything, and it was used at night by truckers late at night. The big ore carrier trucks that barrel through Hoodspray every day. Oh, now there's a Nyala crossing the road. First there was a Kudu, now there's a Nyala. No, that's baby Kudu. It's not a Nyala. It's a new baby Kudu. See, I can live here all my life and I still can't tell the difference. And there's a Nyala. It's a Nyala. There was a Kudu, I promise. There was a Kudu. I'll show to you. You just here where these Nyala are crossing. You have to be. Come on, Kudu, where you to redeem myself. Could be here somewhere. Maybe just in front of these books. In front of these. Nyala family. There's a Kudu. And there goes an Impala. There goes an Impala. But there was a Kudu, I promise. I saw it. I was looking at it. It was there. It was a Kudu. Yeah, it was there. But now it is gone. Good night, Impala and Nyala. Maybe I'll still find it Kudu. Maybe she went down this road. So yeah, as far as firefighter, the lodges, the guides, in all my lifetime of being a guide, I've had to fight several fires that come into that have threatened the Sabi Sand or places I've been in East Africa, and it's frightening. But no, there are no teams of firefighters, there are no equipment, or other fire engines or equipment or things. We are it. And there's actually quite a heavy fire load right now. Fuel load rather, not fire load, fuel load. After a couple of seasons of really good rain. But I think the one thing in our favour is that a lot of it is still green. The base of all of these grasses that we see now around us, it's all still green. It's really unusual that there's so much greenery still there. That I've even found green marula fruits on the trees in July. It's one thing to find them in June, but in May. But to find them now, full green fruits in July. What about this marula we just come across? But gravity drives got stuck. But you can see a lot of smoke in the sky to the southeast. There have been some big fires somewhere today. And sometimes these fires can rage for days, weeks. There's very little to stop them. So never mind that these roads are not big enough for fire engines, they're not big enough for fire breaks. Sometimes when a wind blows, we just blow that fire straight across this road as though it didn't exist. But by the same token, we can still come to these roads. If we've got a fire coming, let's say for example, we are now facing southeast. And unfortunately this is where the wind comes from, so this is the way of fire. This is hypothetically. The wind is blowing from left to right, and there's a fire coming from the left to the east, and there's a fire blowing this way. We could come to a road like this, and we could run along this road with torches, burning torches, and ignite this entire stretch of road on the left-hand side, back towards the flames and put the fire out. So one of the best ways to fight fire in this part of the world without the likes of fancy fire teams that you get in the parts of the world in Europe and North America and maybe Australia, the other parts of the world. Burn back towards the fire. Hopefully by the time you start a fire, this burns back in fire break. Very easy for fires to jump. Seems like our radio is interfering with our signal, so it's one of those times when the weirdest stuff is happening. So I'm going to say goodbye. We'll see you in the morning, Wednesday morning tomorrow, and we'll see what we can find tomorrow. So it's been a bit of a quiet afternoon, as it does seem to be sometimes. But been interesting. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being part of Wild Earth and our Thornybush drive. We'll see you tomorrow morning.